All right, today we are still talking about radicals, but as you can see from the examples here, we're not talking about square roots, but today we're talking about cube roots. Now, as a reminder, yesterday we did square roots. And so if we were simplifying, just to review, a number like square root of 12, we broke it down into its prime factorization. And because it was a square root, we were looking for a pair of numbers. Any number times itself was a perfect square, and that could come out. And anything that wasn't paired up multiplied together and stayed inside. Well, today with cube roots, we are looking for three of a kind instead of a pair. And so you can see the little 3 here outside the root. If it's kind of like exponents, if we don't write anything, it's the invisible 1. When it comes to roots, if we don't write any little number outside the root, it's the invisible 2. It's square root unless noted otherwise. So today's cube roots. And so we're going to do the same thing like we did yesterday. We're going to break down, it into its prime factorization. But today, we're looking for 3 of a kind. And so 2 times 2 times 2, we've got 3 of them. The cube root of 8 is 2, and that's it. I'll box it since I'm circling everything else. Cube root of 125. Again, you can use your calculators. We know 5 goes into this, so if we divide 125 by 5, we get 5 times 25, 5 times 5, and the cube root of 125 is 5 because we have 3 of them. This one's a little different. Let's start by factoring it. So that's going to be 64, 8 times 8, 2 times 4, 2 times 2, 2 times 4, 2 times 2. So circling all my prime factorization. Now, it looks like we have one triplet of 2's and another triplet of 2's. So 2 times 2 comes out, or 4. What's left is that 2 inside. But we didn't talk about that negative yet. So now when it's cube roots, and like that 4 came out, what this means is negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 is equal to negative 64, which is, we could have thought of this as negative 64 times 2. And so in other words, we can take the cube root of a negative because a negative times a negative times a negative is a negative number. And so when you have that negative inside, you're going to have the negative outside because whatever you have a triplet of, it would be negative to make that negative number inside. So this would be our final answer there. Now, with the variables, it's the same as square root, but in this case, how many triplets do we have? How many triples do we have? How many times does 3 go into 6? Well, twice. We would have 2 sets of 3, right? We would have x cubed and x cubed. So we would have 2 sets of those. Maybe that's kind of confusing and not the best way to do it. This way would be better. Let's do it this way. I should have done it like x squared, x squared, x squared. There we go. So how many times does 3 go into 10? 3 times with 1 left over, right? 10 divided by 3 is 3, remainder 1. How many times does 3 go into 5? Once, with 2 x's left over. How many times does 3 go into 4? Once, with 1 left over. That's what that would look like. So it's kind of like 5 divided by 3 is 1 with remainder of 2. That's what we see inside for the x squared. 4 divided by 3 is 1. The 1y comes out, 1y remaining. All right, so for these last ones, still cube root. These are all cube roots. So 81 is 9 times 9, 3 times 3, 3 times 3. So we have one set of 3 comes out. That 3 stays inside. 7 divided by 3 is 2, so 2 comes out, 1y remains. Oop, I forgot to do... I forgot, I'm backing up here. I forgot to put my little cubes on here. So when you write your root, let me do the trick here. Oops. Put your cube root on your root. So cleaned up those answers, fix that up. So this one here, this next one, now this is the same as the cube root of y over the cube root of 216. So this cube root of y is going to stay on top. There's nothing we can do to simplify that. But 216, holy cow, I'm going to try a bigger number here. So 216 divided by 4. Okay, so let's do that. 4 times 54, that at least broke it down a little bit. 6 times 9. Oops, don't circle the 9. 2 times 3. 3 times 3. So looks like we have 3 2s and 3 3s. So 2 times 3 comes out, or 6. So in other words, 6 cubed must be 216 is what we found out. Let's check it. I'm going to check it right now. Yep, that's right. The smaller ones you're going to learn. Like 8 is 2 to the 3rd. Okay, so that's going to be, well, let's say it this way. This is the same as the cube root of 8x to the 4th over the cube root of 27y cubed. So 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So that's coming out, and x comes out, but 1x stays inside. 27 is 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 comes out, and the y we have a triple of. So that is that. Last two here, this is like the cube root of a over the cube root of negative 343. Let's see, that is... So the top is going to stay. We can't simplify that at all. But 7 to the 3rd power is 343. So you're going to have to play around. You know, that's a hard one. It's not like it's even or 3 goes into it. But so that is going to be negative 7 in the denominator because it's negative inside. So negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7 is negative 343. Last one here, cube root of 25c to the 7th d to the 3rd over the cube root of 64. Now 64 is another one you're going to get to know. That is 4 times 4 times 4. So that's going to be 4 in our denominator. In the top, 25 is 5 times 5. That is not a triple. So that's going to stay inside. But for our c's, we have 2, or 7 divided by 3 is 2 with 1 c left over, and then d. So that will be our final answer there. And that is it for day 2. Whoops.